Hello, Mr. Carthy. We're going to ask you a few questions about global schoolrooms. What does global schoolrooms do?
Global Schoolroom is a charity that works in the northeast of India currently, training teachers who have no formal training experience.
Okay. And why was global schoolroom set up?
It was set up because it was recognised that in the northeast of India in particular, but in a lot of India in general, that there was very poor quality teacher training going on in both the universities, but more particularly in the local rural areas where teachers were not actually formally trained, and the consequence of that was the quality of education being given to young people was very poor. The teachers themselves recognised that they needed a new type of training, and that's what Global Schoolroom aims to facilitate.
Okay. And who set up global schoolrooms?
A Global Schoolroom was set up by a husband and wife team, Garrett Campbell, a teacher in Dublin, and his wife Gwen Brennan, who is a principal of Warrenmount's Presentation School in the heart of Dublin City.
Okay. And how did you get involved with global schoolroom?
I became involved in Global Schoolroom in 2007. That was the first year a team of teachers went out. I'd worked 2 previous summers in Calcutta with the Loretto sisters in the slum area of Entally. While I was working in Calcutta, I was working directly with pupils in different street schools. But I was very soon to realise that if I was to make any impact at all that is sustainable, I needed to be working with the teachers.
Okay. And how many teachers do you teach in the classroom?
A typical group of teachers in one of our 8 training hubs in the northeast of India, placed here in the map, would have anything between 20 and 80 teachers. We have trained over 500 teachers to date.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are people trained all year round or just during summer?
Jack, people are trained all year round in so far as there's one full month training in July, and then in October and the following April usually, teachers get further training. They're doing a 3-year teacher training program. The 3 years require all teachers to complete 12 modules of work. When we go out as teams of Irish teachers to the northeast, we work with the teachers on the ground for 1 full month. But for the next 9 months, they are continuing our work and completing workbooks on 4 modules each year, completing 12 over 3 years. 2 or 3 retired teachers then go out in October and either in March or April, depending on what suits the schools in India, and they then work for 2 to 3 weeks each time with those same teachers helping them continue. So to cut a long story short, they do 3 years full time along with their teaching, their work as teachers before they achieve their teaching diploma. And the teaching diploma that they receive is given to them from UCD here in Dublin, or at home in Dublin, and also from the University of Assam, one of the regions up here in the northeast where we work.
What would be the day-to-day difficulties you encounter?
The day-to-day difficulties we encounter when teaching the teachers, I suppose the biggest difficulty for us is the language barrier. We teach through English as we don't have the local language, which is Kasi, and neither do we have any of the other dialects that are spoken in the 3 different regions we're working in. But the teachers also teach through English in most parts of India now. But the English that they have is of varying degrees. Some have very, very little English and rely on their colleagues to translate for them in Kasi. And then some of the teachers have excellent English and are quite fluent, and they obviously then are more successful with accessing the information that we're giving them. So it takes a lot of work on our part to act out and role play and involve the teachers in as many different ways as possible so that they can get the basic concepts of teacher training.
Who is the most affected by the lack of education in these areas?
everybody is affected by the lack of education in this area. The people are not hungry. They have good supply of food. Fruits grow very well in this region. They don't suffer from terrible flooding as other parts of India do. But what they do suffer from is lack of opportunity, and that's because of the lack of education. Many of them still would have parents, grandparents certainly, and indeed some of the children have no literacy skills at all. Many still don't know how to read or write. So in this region it's very difficult to progress if you don't have some basic qualification in education. So everybody suffers really as a result. And the whole area of Meghalaya, Tripura and Assam, they're the 3 states we work in, are working very hard to improve the quality of education, as we are.
And I think everyone wants to know, what can we do to help?
There are 2 great things that can be done here, and already Rochford Bridge has been helping in the field of education. We have so far kept 3 schools going in the northeast of India, and now those schools don't actually require our financial help. They're able to continue themselves, to sustain themselves in education. What we can do here in Rochford Bridge, first of all, is recognise and perhaps talk about the need for spreading the facilities that teachers need to improve their training, to recognise that we ourselves have got a very fine quality of education, and that it is our responsibility to pass that on to others when we get the opportunity. Practically, we always need funds, so fundraising is a huge part of what we do. We're a charity. We don't receive any state funding. We rely on every teacher who comes to the programme to fundraise, like myself and Miss Mulvihill. We each have to fundraise €3,000 to help run the programmes. The teachers in India can't afford to pay for training, so it's free to them. So here in the school, if we can fundraise any amount of money at all, that will go directly to running the programmes to provide better teacher education, and obviously that will result in better pupil education in the future.
Thanks, Mc Carthy.